What is going on, Sports Wars? We're here and we are live. We are a couple minutes late. That's my bad. I wanted to be like 3 or 4 minutes late because we needed to wait to get a notification so you guys would actually get notified that we started. But then we got distracted talking about Larry Nassar sucking dick for protection in prison. So we got down a whole little loop there. But what's up, John Matrix from Black and White Sports?
It was kind of funny, man, when you said we were a couple. I was like, whoa, I'm not gay.
It is Pride Month, Tom. It is Pride Month.
Then I realized we were just talking about Larry Nassar sucking off gang members in prison. So happy Pride Month to Larry Nassar.
I would just die. You know what I mean? Like if those were the options I had, I would just rather die in prison.
I'd rather get shanked.
Yeah, just hang myself with some bed sheets or something. I don't know what the fuck they do there, but I think that would be much preferable to what Larry Nassar is currently doing. Should we just start off everybody's Sunday morning like that?
Might as well.
Yeah, I guess we should. No better way. You just got back from church. You're like, I'm going to sit down and, watch some wholesome Sports Wars. Well, here you go. Larry Nassar, the disgusting degenerate who ended up taking advantage of so many of the U.S. women's gymnastic team members over, the course of over a decade. Some pretty disturbing stuff. Obviously, he's been locked away. It's not going very well for him in prison, apparently, but he is still getting some action, though maybe not the way he had originally intended. Report: disgraced former gymnastics doc Larry Nassar pays gangsters for protection with, quote, sexual favors. This does look like a guy who probably needs to be protected in prison, especially when you're like a sex offender of that type, especially against young girls. A lot of people are probably going to be gunning for you, somebody as high profile as that. Apparently, he's got to do what he's got to do. Convicted child molester and former Team USA gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar arranged for protection in prison by paying gangsters with cash and sexual favors, according to an inmate. In an interview with the New York Post, Grace Pinson, an inmate who did time with Nassar at federal penitentiary, says around June of 2021, he witnessed Nassar entering a prison cell with Mexican gang members. According to Pinson, the cell had its door shut and windows covered, a sign the inmates were either doing drugs, having sex, or both. It was definitely not for the drugs, Pinson asserted. This is a great quote. Larry Nassar has decided sucking dick is a better way of staying alive, said Pinson, a transgender inmate sentenced to 20 years for sending a threatening letter to then President George W. Bush in 2005. Pinson described Nassar as a scared little church mouse who never left his housing unit except to visit the chapel. Now, it's ironic that like a transgender person is basically calling out how like weak and pathetic this person is. That's funny in and of itself, but I don't think there's too many people that are going to feel sympathy for a dude like this.
No, this is what he deserves, man. This is what he deserves. If he didn't, now, I personally don't believe that Larry Nassar is a homosexual, but you ended up spending the rest of your life in prison now. Now you got to do things against your will just to survive. But remember, those little girls that you molested, they didn't ask for that. He's getting his just desserts now, man. He deserves this. No sympathy, man.
It's very much karma, right? It's karma that after what he did to end up where he is, that now he's being forced to do these things to protect himself. Again, if I were in this position, I would just rather die. I think I would rather just let myself be killed than have to do something like this. But couldn't have happened to a worse piece of shit. Rest in peace, Larry Nassar, however long you live. I hope the rest of your life continues to be miserable. But God, rough. Yeah, so that's what we were talking about. We were just laughing about that right before we went live. But we do have some stuff to talk about, obviously. We got NBA finals are going on right now. The first game was a blowout. Probably didn't help, but the ratings are not impressive either. We do have some race baiting already happened at the NBA finals, but Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla basically shut that shit down immediately, which I love. We'll play some clips from that. Obviously, there's Caitlin Clark news. I I feel like the audience gets mad when I make one Caitlin Clark video a day or every 2 days, let alone 3. Like, you guys are pumping out on Black and White Sports, but holy shit, you guys are really growing over there on Black and White Sports too with the Caitlin Clark news. So we got to talk about what's going on in women's basketball as a topic of conversation in like the top list of sports things now. It's amazing, and it's all because of Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, see, Rhodes is actually, not only is he making those videos, he's actually watching her games. He's actually saying he's having fun watching her. So
there's something wrong with Rhodes. You need to maybe get him checked into a fucking mental institution.
Hell, he's not saying he loves WNBA, but he's having a blast watching her play, so he can actually cover her over on the other channel.
Yeah, I mean, like, the way she plays, it's Steph Curry. Like, that's really what this is. This is the Steph Curry effect that we saw in the NBA when Steph Curry came in, started shooting from range, coming off these screens and just jacking shit up that nobody else in the league was doing at the time. Obviously, that's become more commonplace in the NBA now, for better or worse. But that's really what we're seeing the Caitlin Clark effect, in the WNBA 10 years after the fact. It's not because she's white. It's not because she's pretty. It's because of the way she plays the game. And a lot of people in woke sports media still refuse to accept that.
Yeah, they're acting like she's the first white star in the WNBA. They've had other white stars before too, but none of them just moved the needle. They had a lot of black stars too. None of them moved the needle.
I mean, Diana Taurasi is probably considered by a lot of people to be like one of the best women's basketball players to ever play.
People thought that she was going to take the WNBA to the next level because of what she did at UConn, and she was great at UConn. She's had a great WNBA career, but nobody cares.
Yeah, 100%. And there's been a lot of white pretty players. There's been a lot of black players, some black pretty players as well. None of them turn the needle like this, right? It just doesn't fucking happen. You got white players in the WNBA that are prettier than Caitlin Clark. Nobody shows up to the games. Nobody watches their shit.
She had 20,000 people showed up. Was that a road game? There's something like 20,000 people at the game.
It was in LA.
That's insane.
Well, and people were sharing this graphic that Caitlin Clark had more people watching her than people attended the NBA finals. It's like, well, yes, it's because the capacity of the building for the finals is less than the capacity of the building for the game in LA. So there's a little nuance involved there. I think go ahead.
But to be fair, NBA teams don't get 20,000 people at a game. They get like, 17, 18,000, something like that. It depends on how many people you can actually pack in.
It depends on the league and it depends on the size. Exactly. Right. I mean, we can look up attendance right now. The thing with Caitlin Clark is she's filling up these road games because that's the only chance that these people get to see her. So they sell out a game in fucking LA or whatever because people know that's their only opportunity to see Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, nobody else is still watching the other teams. If the Sparks were playing the Liberty, nobody cares. Nobody's still watching. Caitlin Clark is the draw.
Yeah, 100%. So, like, for instance, like Chicago Bulls almost always lead the league in attendance.
Really?
Average of 20,624 people. Mavericks, 20,217. 76ers, 20,041. And that's over 82 games. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's average over an 82 game season. At one point in time, the Bulls had like an insane record number of sellout crowds, even through some of their rough times. So Chicago is just big. Well, basketball is big in Chicago when it's not the Chicago Sky. We'll put it that way.
That's the WNBA team.
Yeah, exactly. Zenny Biscuit for $5 says Dornock, the full brother to last year's Derby winner Mage, won the Belmont Stakes. He is co-owned by former MLB player Jason Worth. Oh, that's cool. I had no idea Jason Worth was doing stuff with horse racing. But Nikola Jokic is like the big horse guy right now. Like very famously, he's obsessed with his horses in the off season when he's done with the NBA.
Oh, really?
Let's see. Lulu Blue, member for 32 months. 32 months of Sunday morning sports wars. Well, thank you for being here for that long. 2 years and 8 months. It's a long ass time, Lulu.
Yep.
And then after that, Dom H drops 10 gifted memberships. Shout out to our man, Dom H. I guess we got to get through another. We got a couple like real degenerate stories going on today, but I thought that this one was interesting for the simple purpose of how the media reacts to things like this, as opposed to somebody saying, "Hey, you know what? Men should be men, women should be women. It's okay to be a feminine woman. It's okay to be a masculine man. And the most rewarding thing you can do is live your life for God and your family," like Harrison Butker became targeted or public enemy number one. When you got stuff like this going on, over the last couple of days, we saw this big story come out about former Dolphins defensive back and current free agent Xavien Howard doing some pretty disturbing things. We've been talking a lot over the last couple of weeks about how mad the mainstream media is. They don't want people to look up to Harrison Butker. He's not a good role model. How dare you listen to what he says? You know, his Christian values, and simply saying that family should be the most important thing in everyone's life, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. Somehow there's not the same level of outrage for stories like this. Former Dolphins quarterback Xavien Howard sued for sending revenge porn. And it would be one thing if it was just, okay, a simple case of, you know, sharing something out there and embarrass somebody.
This involves a minor.
He's sending it to children. He's sending it to children basically after like a bad breakup. Former Dolphins cornerback Xavien Howard is being sued after he allegedly sent naked pictures of a woman he was dating to her son in a revenge porn plot. The free agent corner, who was released by Miami early in the offseason, is being sued by one ex-girlfriend and the son of another ex-girlfriend. According to CBS Miami, the first ex accuses Howard of spreading sexually explicit videos, an action that she claims left her feeling debased and utterly humiliated. The second suit is brought by the son of Howard's other ex-girlfriend. The son claims Howard impregnated his mother, then insisted she have an abortion. After she refused, he accused Howard of texting him sexually explicit pictures of his mother. The ex-girlfriend's son was a minor at the time.
Whoa.
This is like a disgusting, degenerate, like terrible behavior, right? One, trying to force somebody to get an abortion. Then when they don't, send naked pictures of that mother to a son. That's horrifying. That's disgusting.
Yeah, all of you woke losers that were calling for, all you 100,000 people that signed that petition for the Chiefs to fire Harrison Butker, why don't you actually send a petition to the Miami Dolphins? Actually, he's a free agent now.
He's a free agent right now. But the NFL, they were asking for Harrison Butker. He shouldn't have a job. He shouldn't play in the NFL.
Yeah, why don't you send a petition to the NFL to actually have Xavien Howard never play again? But you guys won't do that. What he did was disgusting, allegedly. Harrison Butker, he didn't do nothing wrong. But if this guy did this sounds like it should actually be charges. He could probably be arrested for something like this.
Potentially, a lot of it depends.
Especially with a minor.
A lot of it depends on the state. But yeah, if they can prove it was to a minor, and it depends on when this was as well. But yeah, it's disgusting, despicable, degenerate behavior. Yet they want to get all upset about Harrison Butker's Christian values. It's really embarrassing. And that's not even talking about the guy who's on the same team as Harrison Butker, Rashee Rice, who's, you know, addressed all of his offseason issues, not only the traffic incident, but the other allegations. All I can do is mature and continue to grow. Oh, okay. Sounds good. Where was like the vitriol against Rashee Rice when Harrison Butker's on that team?
Rashee Rice could have got people killed.
100%.
No outrage for him to be fired. And by the way, Harrison Butker actually saved the life of his teammate too that had that seizure the other day.
He did.
And the Wolves are still furious.
Yeah. Did you see some of the responses to it?
Yeah.
Holy fuck. Let me. I have that bookmarked somewhere. It might take me a second to find it. But yeah, like not even him running and helping to save his teammate that had a seizure and then went into cardiac arrest. Him being the first one to sprint out of there and grab medical assistance. That's not enough for these people. Like, look at this shit. I made a video about this yesterday. If you want to look for some more of the details. But hero, Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker saw BJ Thompson having a seizure and a heart attack and ran to the training room to grab trainer Julie Frymore, saving Thompson's life. Or sorry, Fryme. I don't know how to fucking pronounce that.
I think
It wasn't just her, by the way.
It mispronounced her name. They may have misspelled her name.
They may have. It was like
it was Frymore or
it
something.
was like 3 or 4 people that were in there. She was one of them, right? Saving Thompson's life, a truly heroic act. Look at the responses from these people. Shout out to the real hero and the rest of the medical staff. Okay. It's a damn good thing that trainer wasn't in the kitchen when Butker called for her, huh? What Julie did was heroic. What Harrison did should be human nature. I'm surprised he allowed her to save Thompson's life. Personally, I think the woman who was working was the hero here. I'm personally glad the heroic trainer was there to save a life instead of being a stay-at-home mom. Like, nothing can convince these people that Harrison Butker's not a massive piece of shit. They'll put any spin on it they can. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you woke losers, Harrison Butker was not saying that women had to stay home. He never said that. People just believe whatever the media tells them.
Yeah, he never said a single thing about that. He talked about how the most rewarding thing in everyone's life, male or female, isn't going to be like your professional achievements. It's going to be living for God, and it's going to be your family, like your children that you raise.
He even mentioned men secondly when he was actually talking about the women. He mentioned him being a father after that, but the media doesn't talk about that.
100%. It's pretty despicable, but he's the reason they got medical help there. Who knows what impact that could have had? Who knows what a little bit longer of a delay could have had? For our understanding, BJ Thompson's still stable and recovering, but it's certainly scary. Yeah, I talked about in my video. If you've never seen a seizure before, it's a frightening thing to witness.
I've never seen one, man, but I don't want to see one. That looks pretty scary.
It is because there's really no warning. I knew somebody when I was in school that had epilepsy, so I was there to witness a couple seizures. It's fucking scary as shit. It just looks violent and scary because someone doesn't have control of their body, and there's so little that you're able to do in the moment. Right. I imagine a lot of people in the room frozen, didn't know what to do. Harrison Butker fucking sprinted to the training room and got him help and potentially saved his life. That's not enough for these people.
Nope.
That's not enough for these people. Let's see. Where are we? Connor Akers for 2. Xavien Howard becoming the NFL's Jared Fogle. Fuck. Maybe. I watched the Jared Fogle documentary or whatever.
I did too. That was a really good and disturbing documentary.
Yeah, it was weird. It was very weird.
What's really scary, he's going to be out of prison in 7 years or so, 8 years. He only got 15 years in prison. He's been gone for 6 already or something.
Maybe he'll go to Jersey Mike's, start promoting. I don't know. Go with the competition. Mike Hill for $20. Team USA would rather have a convicted criminal than Caitlin Clark. Yes, we are going to get to the Caitlin Clark stuff. 100%. Mick Walsh for member for 40 months. Howard could get 5 years in Ireland for doing that. Yeah, like I said, a lot of it depends on the jurisdiction where it happened, how long ago it happened, all that shit. So we'll see. I think right now it's just civil potentially, but who knows?
Well, my question is, if it's actually found out to be true, is he going to get a year suspension from the NFL? Something like that. You would actually think the NFL would step in and say, you're gone for a year.
You would think potentially maybe they wouldn't do anything since he's a free agent. Maybe they'd wait to see.
Well, I'm talking about
him or whatever.
If he actually gets on with the team.
Yeah, probably. Connor Akers for 5. Rudy Gobert should have won Defensive Player of the Year in 2020 for shutting the NBA down. But do you remember that?
Yeah.
Rudy going and touching the mic and all that shit.
Yeah.
And the next day, basically, he gets COVID, and a day after that, the NBA shut down.
Yeah, but the thing is, he got COVID. I don't think he was really sick, and as far as we know, nobody else in the room got it.
Yeah, I don't think
when he was touching everything. So
it was just such a funny, because he was clearly making light of the whole thing, and then he pops the next day after being told don't touch anything and just touch everything. Fucking Rudy Gobert's dumbass. That was such a wild time for us covering sports.
Yeah. I remember Mark Cuban being at the game, and his facial expression when he found out the NBA shut down was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, because didn't they pull him off the floor?
Yeah, they
I don't know.
pulled.
I don't know if the game was officially started or not, but like they were
I don't
ready to
think.
start the
I know
game.
they emptied the arena.
Yeah, and they got pulled off the floor, and everybody had to go back to their shit.
Yeah, and looking back at it, everything in hindsight,
it's wild.
If we know what we know
happen,
now, we're like, man, that's pretty dumb.
I mean, we thought it was dumb then, you know, like we were calling that stuff out, how silly it was and how ridiculous it was that they were doing some of these things, but every fucking sports league. And then you combine that with all of the, like in the after, because that was, you know, a year after. Well, I mean, kind of a year, really right along line with a lot of the social justice, Black Lives Matter protesting things. We saw the shooting of Jacob Blake happen in the NBA bubble that was in the bubble because of COVID, and the teams refused to play because Jacob Blake, a fucking criminal piece of shit who was trying to kidnap people, like he ends up getting shot by police, rightfully so. You had the Jalen Roses of the world claiming that Jacob Blake was killed. You know, live on it. That was just such an.
There's still people that believe that Jacob Blake is dead.
He probably does.
Jacob Blake is some civil rights hero now, I guess.
It was nuts. It was a crazy time to watch sports play out.
I remember Bronny James's his high school team. They were actually on the court wearing masks. I thought that was the dumbest thing I ever saw because they were in LA and they had to wear masks. They were actually running up and down the court with COVID masks on.
We do have to talk about this Caitlin Clark stuff, though. A lot of people in the WNBA should probably wear masks, not because of COVID, but because a lot of them are just ugly as fuck. But more people than ever before have been tuning into women's basketball for one specific reason. It's not because of Angel Reese or this rookie class or the players that, you know, paved the way. It's because of Caitlin Clark. We have seen that. We've witnessed that. Every single person with a brain knows it, despite the woke media trying to lie to you. So a lot of people expected that when Team USA announced their Olympic roster, that Caitlin Clark would make the cut. However, that is not the case, and it has caused a severe amount of backlash. Report, Caitlin Clark left off final roster for U.S. Women's Olympic team. Now, there are a couple things to consider. One, it's not like Caitlin Clark is leading the league in points or anything like that. I think she's in the top 15. And she's in the top, 10 or 5 in assists. She's playing really well for a rookie. But, when you have these type of teams that are assembled, sometimes they give veterans a little bit of a nod because, hey, they've had the experience, they paid their dues. But then we started hearing these reports. A lot of people were pissed in general because this is the most impactful women's basketball player we've ever seen at this point.
Yeah.
And it's not like she's not talented enough to be on that roster and you leave her off. It was getting called out left, right, and center. Right here, Dave Portnoy was one of the people right on top of it. This may be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. How dumb are these people? Never complain about women's salaries again. Make that team fly commercial. Unreal dumb. So that was a lot of the reaction before we knew some of these details. Details like the fact that Brittany Griner made the team instead of Caitlin Clark. Now, certainly Brittany Griner does have experience international ball in Team USA. She's been shit for the past couple years and just played her first game the other night because she's been injured the entire year. So you're going to have Brittany Griner, who last time she was involved in international basketball, got arrested in Russia for bringing pot into the fucking country. This criminal who doesn't want to stand for the national anthem, who hates America, and who in all likelihood is probably a biological male. You put her on the team and leave off Caitlin Clark. And then, John, was the real stunner. Report, Clark left off Team USA roster due to concerns of fan backlash over limited playing time. So, according to these reports, a lot of people involved with women's basketball knew that Caitlin Clark has a massive fan base, know that she's talented enough to be on the team, and this was how they felt about it. Team USA veterans were concerned about Caitlin Clark's millions of fans, well, you should be concerned about millions of fans tuning in to watch you because no one else will otherwise, would react to her likely limited playing time on a stacked Olympic roster. Two other sources, both longtime U.S. basketball veterans with decades of experience in the women's game, told USA Sports Today Friday that concern over Clark's millions of fans would react to what would likely be limited playing time was a factor in the decision-making. If true, that would be an extraordinary admission to the attention that this multi-million-dollar sensation, who signs autographs for dozens of children before and after every game, has cause for the old guard of women's basketball. The two people spoke on condition of anonymity because of the sensitivity of this matter. This is fucking insane.
That is, that's crazy right there. I mean, if she's good enough to be on the team, she's good enough to be on the team. All she had to do is really just be on the team. I mean, playing time when it comes to Olympics, and I'm assuming that Team USA has the best players in the world. I don't know about the international competition of other women, but she is the draw. Caitlin Clark is bigger than the NBA Finals right now. NBA Finals going on. Well, I guess we'll get to it, and like nobody's watching.
Well, Caitlin Clark's getting, a million to sometimes 1.5 to almost 2 million people watching her games. NBA Finals had 11 million, but yeah, go ahead.
But overall, what I mean really is that when it comes to the attention, more attention is being put on her than even the NBA Finals that's going on right now. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, she moves the fucking needle right now.
She's a bigger story than the Finals.
And there's a lot of angles to this because I don't think that just because someone is popular means that they should automatically make the roster.
No.
I wouldn't want that.
She definitely can play. She got the skills.
She does. Now, when you look at her compared to the laundry list of people that made the team, really there's like two people in there that I think you could argue. Diana Taurasi at 42 years old made the team.
She's 42 and made the team.
Now, her scoring numbers are very similar to Caitlin Clark's. But when you have a situation like that, you could see this in the NBA as well. A veteran, somebody who has a lot of Olympic experience, stuff like that, getting the nod over a rookie because their time will come. You can kind of justify that if you're just talking about the team and feeling a good team. The Brittany Griner edition is whack. Like, that's bullshit. Certainly, she does have international basketball experience, but also has not played at all this year, was not good when she came back last year after being imprisoned in Russia. That's an embarrassing addition, and it tells you that there was more than just the level of play involved. I'm not saying that Caitlin Clark 1,000% is better than all those other people who made the team. There's a lot of players on the team that have played better than her and deserve to be on that Olympic roster. But the decision is insane.
To be fair, also, Caitlin Clark has had some up and down games. Did she only have like 3 points like last week or something like that?
Yeah, I think in back-to-back games, I think she put a 3-point performance and a 30-point performance.
Yeah, and her field goal percentage for the season isn't that great. It's like 36% from the field, if I'm not mistaken. 100%. So but I believe she's gonna get much better. And she just dropped 30 the other day. I mean, the future is bright for her. And these WNBA players, man, they better wake up, man, and start riding this train, or else they're never going to get paid.
The fact that you acknowledge that people on the team and people involved in women's basketball decision-making, they were worried about the millions of fans she has getting upset that she had limited playing time on the roster. So you acknowledge that her fan base is bigger than yours, bigger than the rest of the women's basketball fan base, yet you don't want her on the team. This would be a moment to, again, garner so much attention for women's basketball on a national stage at the Olympics. And they don't want to do it. Not because she's not good enough for the team to make the team, but because they don't want any backlash over her maybe not being a starter or anything like that. What an insane decision. And it just shows that the women that are in the WNBA, that have been in the WNBA, they fucking despise Caitlin Clark. They can't stand her, and it's really pathetic.
Yeah.
Really pathetic. But like I said, like a lot of decisions can go into something like that. And we see with the men's team, it's not necessarily the best 12 or 15 people, not the best 12 or 15 players in the league that go. There's other decisions and other things they weigh, but to say someone's too popular, even though they're performing at a high level, is wild. That's insane. And that's why you're seeing this massive amount of backlash.
Yep.
Let's see. We got 1,000 people watching, guys. We start talking about Caitlin Clark and everybody just rolls in, John.
Yeah.
It is kind of crazy. We've talked about this before. How long do you think the Caitlin Clark phenomenon is going to last? You think it's going to be sustained over the next couple years?
I think it will, because I believe she's going to improve. Eventually, her team's got to get better. They're going to have to start winning. And I do believe that people will still be talking about her. So as crazy as it is right now, with her play getting better, I believe that she's still going to move the needle going forward. We've never seen anything like this for. She's the best thing to ever happen to the WNBA. WNBA has to know that.
Yeah, she's already tied the rookie threes record, which is kind of crazy.
Really?
Yeah. Like, what are they?
Only played like 11 games or something.
yeah, they're like a quarter of the way through their season. Now they are fucking terrible. Indiana Fever have only won 3 games, I think.
Yeah, they're 3-9
the second worst team in the league. Washington Mystics haven't won a single fucking game. But I do think, again, for her to have that like sustained, I think the reason she became so popular is because the way she played and because Iowa was fucking good, right? Iowa was in the national championship game. Iowa was in the Final Four. So if they don't turn that team around quickly, it's gonna fall by the wayside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
just imagine if she actually went to UConn, where she really wanted to go. She would have won championships over there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she was the only player on Iowa, to that level. We've seen the UConn Huskies women's team used to be stacked for years and years. I mean, the women's game for a long time, it was not competitive at all. There was really no depth. You know what I mean?
But UConn was just wiping everybody out. When Diana Taurasi was there, they won and Breanna Stewart, they won 100 straight games.
Yeah, and those were
something crazy.
Very separate eras. That was
yeah.
Breanna Stewart was 10 years after Diana Taurasi.
Yeah, but that was just how dominant UConn was. I mean, they're still really good now.
For a very long time in women's basketball, it was just UConn, Stanford, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Those were the only fucking teams that could even have a shot at winning a title. It's gotten a little better over in recent years. Now you do have the Iowas, the LSUs, obviously Baylor when Brittany Griner was there, when they got a man on their team, that helped them out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our women's basketball segment, guys. Who knew we'd end up talking about women's basketball so much this year? D's Webos for 199. Angel Reese is just Anthony Davis in drag. What did you think about the Jussie Smollett act from the Chicago Sky?
Yeah, I didn't see the video, but weren't they saying that they were being harassed by a man with his camera or something like that? And when we actually come to find out, all he was just asking questions.
Yes. So the Chicago Sky players, Chicago Sky is the team that Angel Reese is on, the dumb bitch, and also that Kennedy Carter, however you say her dumbass name, the one who looks like she ran into a brick wall multiple times, who elbowed Caitlin Clark, who gave her that cheap shot. They all started sending out a bunch of tweets. We're being harassed. This is pathetic. Why we can't even get off the bus? Blah, blah, blah. There's people screaming at us. And the video and the mainstream media ran to the defense. This is not okay. We need to protect these women. Okay. The video came out. And it was a dude, one guy with a fucking cell phone, who was like, "Hey, Miss Carter, have you reached out to Caitlin Clark? Have you reached out to Caitlin Clark at all?" Like, as they're on the sidewalk. That was it. These fucking dumb whores have been begging for attention for 20 fucking years. And now they can't handle it when one dude is asking them questions as they get off a bus. What are we talking about? How pathetic is this?
Well, I told you, man, they just want to be victims. Remember, the media was running cover for Brittany Griner when primetime Alex Stein was asking her questions in the airport.
Yeah.
They made it seem like she was getting attacked, and you watch the video, like, he was asking her questions. That's it.
Yeah, and this was not on the same level of Alex's questions, by the way. This was like way tamer than that. And they made a big deal about this, which is just, I mean, it's fucking pathetic in my eyes.
Yeah. Alex Stein was doing it in more of a comedic way, though. So.
Oh, 100%. And he was trying to be funny. It was fucking funny to watch.
It was funny as hell.
But this is the we were talking a little bit about NBA ratings. Now, I don't know if this NBA Finals, and I said it before, you know, with the Boston Celtics, obviously a legendary team, very passionate fan base when it comes to the Boston Celtics. The Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic, one of the young superstars in the NBA. Tough to believe this dude's only like 25 years old, putting up the crazy numbers that he is. I'm really interested in this matchup. I think the Celtics have like a complete team, whereas obviously the Mavericks are very top heavy with Luka and Kyrie. But the first game was a blowout, which probably didn't help ratings. But unfortunately, the ratings for the NBA, not very good, at least when it comes to game one. NBA Finals ratings, Mavericks Celtics post worst game one numbers since 2001. Now, that headline doesn't make it seem like it's all that bad. Oh, only since
2021.
Yeah, sorry, 2021. It's kind of failing to mention that 2020 and 2021 were the lowest rated NBA Finals we've ever seen in history. So to say it's the worst since that is, you know, not, it doesn't seem as bad as it really is. The reality is these are the lowest numbers we've seen outside of the years that were affected by the COVID shit since 2007. So at least for a game one, right? At least for a game one. Now, it was a blowout that certainly probably didn't help things, but it doesn't exactly bode well for the rest of this NBA Finals. And you were talking earlier, John, I know you guys did a video about it, but the NBA is looking to get a new fucking contract that is massive, and it's kind of tough to understand the numbers they're pulling when the ratings continue to be poor.
Yeah, it's a ton of money, $76 billion, I believe, over 10 or 11 years. And of course, we all know TNT is out. So it's really going to be the Walt Disney Company and NBC. They're going to fork out a ton of Amazon too, by the way. Amazon, they're getting the NBA now, and I just don't see how they're going to spend that kind of money when you actually look at the ratings. It's been in the tank, really, even before 2020. The ratings were already on the decline. Go back to like 2014, 2015. We had Golden State and the Cavs.
Yeah.
Ever since then, it's just been declining and declining and declining.
Yeah, and this is, you know, obviously when you don't have Steph Curry, when you don't have LeBron James, right? These people that have been massive stars for a long time, you're not going to necessarily pull the same numbers. I think this is better for the NBA in the long run that they have these teams. You've seen...
Well, they got new blood now.
Yes, you've seen, obviously, the Celtics were there with a similar team a couple of years ago, end up losing to Golden State. But they've been building this team. This team feels like they've underperformed for a while. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, you add Drew Holiday, you add Kristaps Porzingis. Al Horford somehow is still playing at a high level and able to be very effective on the floor, even at his age, which is nuts to me. But they're able to do it. Whereas you got the Mavs, who are like Luka Doncic, legitimately is going to be an MVP candidate every single year for the next decade in the NBA. He's fucking amazing. He's phenomenal. You got Kyrie, who's had this resurgence, despite the media fucking just hating Kyrie for some of the stuff he says. You've got him there tag teaming with Luka, and who knows how long that can last. Who knows how good they could be with that. I think the Celtics do have the massive edge. Obviously, they showed that in the first game, but I like the idea of these two younger guys, like Luka and Jason Tatum, who might end up being rivals for the next decade. Who knows? Going against each other. However, it's not going to draw general attention.
No, but the NBA, like I said, the NBA can really recover once LeBron is gone, and he's pretty much gone. I don't believe he's going to be back in the NBA Finals again. Steph Curry, he's on the way out to eventually. Steph Curry is actually kind of old.
He's older than people think. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that he was a late bloomer, I think. So his prime wasn't as long as like LeBron or anything. Like, remember, he had a bunch of injuries early on in his career.
I don't know how much of like just late bloomer, but he he went to college for as long as he's supposed to go to college for. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but
he wasn't
when
a
he
one and
came
done
into the
guy
NBA,
at
but when he
Davidson.
came to the NBA, nobody was like, whoa, that guy nobody was doing that with him. He didn't have that.
Nobody
impact.
expected to be as transformational as he
Right.
eventually became. I 100% agree with that. Yeah. You know, he came into the NBA at 21 or 22, as opposed to a lot of these guys that come in at like 18, 19 after a
Remember, he
season
went to
of college.
Davidson. It wasn't like he went to UNC or Duke.
Exactly. He was not that guy. And then, yeah, I mean, he did. It's not like his first season was.
No, he wasn't a horrible player. But
no,
you wouldn't say you would. But you
played,
wouldn't call him a superstar in the making.
No, I don't even think he won Rookie of the Year. I think he was runner up or third or something like that. You know, probably put up 15 points a game, something like that. But obviously,
yeah, I think that's about what he was.
They allowed him to play his game, and it started taking off.
Yeah,
but yeah. Steph Curry's older than people think.
I think he's like 36.
That's fucking old.
Yeah, I think he is. Actually, I'm curious now. Steph.
Yeah, see how old he is. He's got to be mid 30s though.
Steph Curry. Yeah, I was right. He's 36.
30 fucking 6, which means he's what, like 4 or 5 years younger than LeBron?
Yeah, he was born in 80. LeBron was born in 84. Yeah, he's only 4 years younger than LeBron.
That's crazy to think about.
And I remember LeBron came in 2003.
2003, yeah. Like that's so weird when you put it in that perspective, because I don't think anyone in their right mind would guess that Steph Curry's only 4 years. Like, just instinctually, it doesn't feel like he's 4 years younger than LeBron.
Yeah, it took Steph to year 3 before he even averaged 20 points per game. So I would say he started to take off really more in like year 5, I would say. Somewhere around there.
Connor Akers for 5. Do you think having international star players as the face of the NBA played a role in ratings decline? Maybe, like, potentially a little bit. I think you also have to look at the type of people who are the faces of the NBA, not just how they look or where they're from or how they speak, but what is their
personalities too, man. Jokic is not. He's like, when he won the title, he's like, this done. I'm ready to go ahead and what did he say? Ready to go home. That was it. No personality.
Yeah. I do think that has a lot to do with it, because LeBron James, love him or hate him, I fucking hate him. But people really care one way or the other about him, right? You either love him or you hate him. He has a personality. He speaks out of his fucking ass sometimes, but he's always got a fucking comment here or there, right? Those are the things that can draw a lot of eyes and a lot of attention, regardless of whether it's love or hate.
Right. Tim Duncan was an all-time great player. He never said anything. He's just kind of like, So the media didn't care about him.
Yeah, not that they didn't care, but he didn't get as much attention.
No, he didn't.
Guys like Jokic, when you look at guys like Jason Tatum, when you look at guys like Luka, and I think Luka has a little bit more, maybe is a little bit more expressive, has a little more potential to kind of be that guy with a bigger personality going forward. But yeah, you look at some of these guys and they don't really turn the needle that way.
Right. But Tim Duncan also really great player, but he was boring as hell to watch. He didn't have those moves. The way he moved was like, it looked stiff to me. Like it wasn't flowing. You know what I mean?
For who? Say that again.
Tim Duncan. Like when you watch him play, they called him a bit fundamental
big fundamental, yeah.
Because he was just fundamental, no flash when he played.
And I saw somebody said in the chat, the media is pushing Anthony Edwards really hard. Yes. And the reason Anthony Edwards is getting so much push and so much hype is because of the way he plays, the way he talks. And I love it. Like, I love the idea that he's willing to fucking trash talk everybody, that he's super hard on himself and super critical of himself, that he's pissed off when they lose, that he's never going to give up. He's never going to give. Like, I like that attitude a lot. And so I do think they look at Anthony Edwards as a guy who could potentially be somebody like that in the future. But yeah, like the era of fucking LeBron James has been over for a while. So the NBA needs to find whoever's going to be that next true new face. They've been looking for it for a while, and they haven't found it. They have not found it. But let me see if we got any more. I think we're all caught up on Super Chats. Shout out to the people that are watching us over on Rumble. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Oh, one more. I did want to point out, I've got one more thing here from the NBA Finals. You know, the mainstream media is always going to try to make race a part of the discussion one way or the other. And they tried to do that during the NBA Finals. They got shut the fuck down. And this is great here. I love this. I got to pull it up for you guys. Here we go. Oh, I actually need to share the entire screen so we can listen to it. Got to share the entire screen on this one. We know that when it comes to the woke mainstream sports media, they take any and every opportunity to try to make it about race, whether it's about the players, whether it's about the coaches, whether it's about the general manager, whether it's about some random thing that happened in the world. They always want to race bait. And luckily enough, during this NBA Finals, head coach Joe Mazzulla of the Boston Celtics shut down reporters when they tried to do that very thing to him. Now, he's done this in the past when he's been asked the questions about race and how it feels to be a black man head coach in the NBA when it's traditionally been so hard for you. All of that stupid shit we hear time and time again. But I love the fact that this is the headline for this NBA Finals. Boston Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla emphatically shuts down race baiting question. And we've got the clip right here. And the fact that this is asked at all, especially when it's Jason Kidd who's on the other side, who Jason Kidd is, Jason Kidd's like half black, even though he might not look like it. They decided to ask this question. And John, I know you're going to love this answer.
Hey, Joe, Pensacola, Yahoo Sports. For the first time since 1975, this is the NBA Finals where you have two black head coaches. Given the plight sometimes of black head coaches in the NBA, do you think this is a significant moment? Do you take pride in this? How do you view this, or do you not see it at all?
I wonder how many of those have been Christian coaches. David Aldridge?
Dead fucking
He just shut him down.
He shut him the fuck down. I love that.
To be honest, he probably didn't even know. He probably didn't even care, to tell you the truth. Actually, I can tell he didn't care just based off his facial expression.
Yeah, he's not going to entertain. He's not going to entertain that race baiting bullshit. Because you're the first two black head coaches facing off the NBA Finals since 1975. Given that it's so hard for black coaches out there, forgetting the fact that Joe Mazzulla replaced a black coach in Ime Udoka, who got fired from the Celtics. By the way, there's a lot of black coaches.
He got hired back. He got hired back into the NBA too. Yeah,
and that fucking answer is so perfect. Wonder how many of them were Christian. Because he's been very open about his faith. Yeah. And there's such a long pause that he silenced the question completely is fantastic. I want to listen one more time.
Times with black head coaches in the NBA, do you think this is a significant moment? Do you take pride in this? How do you view this, or do you not see it at all?
I wonder how many of those have been Christian coaches.
Man, I love this. That's epic.
That's awesome.
Remember Todd Bowles did something similar. I mean, they tried to race bait Todd Bowles. Was it last season? I don't remember exactly what it was. But he shut down that reporter. Said, why don't y'all just stop talking about race or something like that? He said, I don't remember exactly what it was.
And you can see how the woke media feels about this. Look at their headlines. 2024 NBA Finals. Celtics coach Joe Mazzulla's unwillingness to discuss race is a complicated issue. They're mad that he's not talking about it. They're mad that he shut that question down. They're mad that he's not going to stand there on a soapbox about how proud he is to be a black head coach in the NBA and proud to do this, proud to do that. The media can't fucking stand that he will not take their bait. Right? Mazzulla, who's mixed race, preferred to sidestep it, giving deference to his religion more than his racial identity. He didn't expound on it. He didn't elaborate what it meant for him to be a Christian. He brought religion to the party, but didn't choose to explore the conversation. They're so mad about this. It's pathetic. But had to get that in there because much bad shit is going on in the NBA that we call out. Got to call out the good shit when we see it too. And I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. Our man Emilio with 10 gifted memberships. Shout out Emilio and all the new channel members out there.
Yep.
Thank you. The Greg for $10. Been in the shadows, but I'm still here, fellas. UCLA is on the way to being great again. Chip Kelly's still a bum. UCLA shall rise again. Yeah, basically, you as soon as Chip Kelly got fired, you're like, my work here is done. I hear you, the Greg. I hear you. Connor for 2. You guys watch Quiet on the Set documentary? I have watched that. Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
I don't think there was enough actual meat to that thing in terms of Dan Snyder's actual like horrific shit, other than just he didn't like working with a woman. Oh, it's because I was black that I didn't get enough screen time. All that shit. I feel like it could have been a lot better.
You saw there's a TV movie now about Donald Sterling. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it's on Hulu or something.
Yeah,
It's
Lawrence
Clipped,
Fishburne is Doc Rivers.
Yes, yeah. They got a bunch of different people casting that. I've not heard it's good. I've heard it's entertaining because of how like silly it is, but I don't know. I'll have to check it out at some point. Lord Botha for 199. Did y'all cover cricket already? No, I didn't cover cricket. I know that the Team USA upset Pakistan or some shit. I don't fucking know. People that actually
I didn't even know.
cricket. Yeah, Team USA pulled a big upset. That's all I know about it. But that's about it for us. We've been going almost an hour. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. John, what do you guys got going on for Black and White Sports?
Same old. I may actually shoot that video on Joe Mazzulla now. I don't know that or the finals ratings. Actually, I could probably tie that together. So we'll see. We'll see what happens later on.
Hey, there you go. Somebody said, "What the fuck is cricket?" I don't know. I don't understand cricket. I've tried to watch it before and I don't get it. I don't understand it.
It's the precursor to American baseball.
Yeah, we made it better. But that is going to do it for us today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week, same time, same place. Shout out to all the people that were watching over on Rumble as well. And thanks for making it a big stream. We will talk to you later. Peace.